There's all those thousands of people are waiting bated breath are watching this right now. Right. Let's go. Can't wait for the RAC meeting.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Risk and Audit Committee. Welcome to Steve Goodman to your first recognition, I believe. Welcome along, and to councillors zooming in today, Councillor Naylon and Webb, and to Ned, welcome, and to anyone else out there watching today. Sorry for the slight delay, we've just had a little technical hiccup, but we're underway now. So we'll start with the, just before we do get underway, I just want to say, and really to acknowledge the team at council for all the hard work being put in at the moment with the annual report and the plan. So there's just a couple of items in the agenda today that probably just need a little bit more verbal explanation around their content, where they might not have quite got to where they need to be before they were publicised, but we'll address those as we come to them. We'll firstly start off today with any apologies. Do you have any apologies at all? No apologies. Okay. With some, I'll move that there are no apologies received or requests for leave. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Fallett, all in favour? Aye. Any against? No. Carried unanimously. Thank you. Members' interest. Are there any members' interest to declare today? Any items on the agenda? Members' interest to dispose? I'll move that way. Any seconder, Mr. Mayor, all in favour? Any against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item number 3, confirmation of the minutes from the 16th of August. I'm going to take these as read. Are there any comments around those? Councillor Reedy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Page 16, item number 9, action point. I know it's not on the list, but action point demarshal will check dollar value of this and bring it to the next meeting. That was in relation to 962K that I had previously identified. So I just noticed there's nothing in the agenda items. So with
regard to the retentions?
No. Yes, Roach advised the 962 had been paid to council holdover pensions. Well, typically it was the demarshal will check dollar value of this and bring this to the next meeting. So I'm not sure if it's the 962 or the retention.
That was the retention.
Yeah, that's
the issue.
Yeah.
Yep.
And do we have an item on that at all?
I will ask.
I can tell you and I think I should put it into a report for the next meeting. So when I do it then, it will say.
Okay, so that will carry that action point over with regard to retentions. Councillor Howard.
Just an amendment to the minutes. Gina has picked it up, but I've been missed from the people present.
Apologies for that, Councillor Howard. So that's an amendment. Thank you. Any other amendments? Nothing there. So we will put the resolution that the Risk and Audit Committee receive and confirm the minutes from the 16th of August, subject to the one amendment, and we'll bring your point forward, Councillor Reedy, to an action point. So that won't be an amendment. So with that resolution, can I have a mover? Councillor Weston, seconded Deputy Mayor Basher, all in favour? Aye. Any against? Carried unanimously, thank you. So we'll now move on to the action point list. And we have 3 actions on here, which have you got any further update on these, Douglas?
All 3, unfortunately, but Madam Chair said we've put a huge focus on our resources on the annual report, so just a couple of things have slid from our actions for this meeting. The item 215, we've identified as a staff illness issue, so that's an October reporting, not September. All 3 will be September, but the ultimate pump stations, that's part of that wider strategic risk register review and workshop. And then, as I just said, Councillor Reid will come back and just confirm that retention. I have the calculation, but I will put it in writing because it's better to do it that way.
Okay, so we're moving all three to October, plus we're adding the one from the minutes from the last meeting around retentions,
Well,
councillor.
it's actually there anyway.
It's actually there, sorry.
Oh, so it
No, I
is
missed it
too,
too.
yeah.
Still
Right,
doesn't mean we're done.
we're well covered then, aren't we? So that's good news.
Still haven't done it, but.
Okay. So could I have someone please move that the Risk and Audit Committee receive the action point report for information? Councillor Sampson, seconded Councillor Fallett, all in favour? Any against? Carried unanimously, thank you. The Risk and Audit Work Plan, and as you know, this gives us detail of what we have ahead of us. We'll become very familiar with it now. So I'm just going to, so familiar that I've lost it off my, there it is. Yes.
Yes, Madam Chair, there are a couple of matters that we did leave right till the agenda was being issued, but so one is the Bill of Holdings Limited. We would normally look at something in terms of either the last quarter for June or maybe even some sort of financial report, but that wasn't available to us at the issue of agenda, so that will now have to be considered for a council meeting report if it's available, just to get inside the statutory reporting we need to do every quarter. The second item is the Westport Airport Authority financials, completed by our staff, reviewed by Mrs. Brooks, our finance manager, but I haven't had a chance to review that. So that will more than likely come to as part of the council reporting. That will go to the end of September. There's one other bit. Yeah, no, the rest we've got there, just a wee bit. Obviously the debtors report came out in a couple of parts, so we just need to refer to that. But yeah, just really where our focus came for this particular reporting period on the annual report. So.
Douglas, Councillor
Just
Simpson.
on the director appointments remuneration, we've done the remuneration, but what about the appointments? Where are we at if it's not?
Yes. Yep, so I'll address that in the public excluded portion when we deal with the minutes from the meeting of the meeting with Mr. Mayor and myself and the Buller Holdings director. So we'll address that then, Councillor Sampson. Any other questions around this report? Okay, so the resolution that Risk and Audit Committee received the Risk and Audit Work Plan for information. Have the mover, Deputy Mayor Basher, second. Councillor Fallett, all in favour? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Councillor Ricky. Carried. We'll move now on to the agenda item number 6, which is the Strategic Risk Report. And this is our quarterly update on the Strategic Risk Register. The various updates have been provided around the various risks identified. Douglas, did you have anything further to add to this report?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just there's one item there, the information management item I had offered to provide a report to this committee for September, but I've just had to push that to October. There's not been a lot of change between this and the last reported in June. The next big issue in the risk register, we're part of this review that we've talked about for the whole framework because we've had it in place now for 3 years. So yeah, not a lot. And the key thing, I suppose the other thing is we've identified that pump station one as our matters to follow up. So we've got it covered in terms of our future reporting. Thank you.
Thank you, Douglas. Any comments on this report? Councillor Sampson.
Just page 25, item 6 on the information IT. I'm just, well, what has been done to date and how short are we of expectations of what we expected? We've run out of money, and although quotes were obtained in advance, much quicker the digital property files, the cost exceeded the budget. So how far have we got on to expectations?
Sorry, as I said before, Madam Chair, I was looking to do a report to September and more full study, so they'll come to October. So those questions will be answered.
I might just actually put that on the action point list, so that we've got it there, so we'll list that as an action, as an update with regard to the information management. It's a report to come from Douglas. Thank you. Councillor Reedy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I echo Councillor Sampson. I was going to raise that as one point. The other one is on page 27, item number 3. Discussions have been had with the company to help prepare the original BDC risk management framework, work out a work program and so on. So what I'm hearing is that we do not do that ourselves in-house. We've got unqualified, we bring in consultants or what have you to organise a risk.
Original work, Madam Chair, was done by Phil Rossler and Debtors. So he ran a really good process as well. So I've talked to Phil about just doing a refresh of that process for us. So I think it's one of those ones that's good to do with an external lens on it, because if you're internal, you're always probably set a bit more rosy. So it's a good to have an external approach.
I'm happy, Madam Chair. I just wanted to.
Yep, no, very good question. Thank you. Any other comments on this paper? Sorry, anyone, Councillor Webb, Councillor Naylon or Ned, anything? No, all good?
Please.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Basher? No? Okay, so we no further comments. So the recommendation is that the risk committee note the updates received for the strategic risk register at September 2023. Could I have a mover for that resolution? Councillor Reedy, thank you. Seconded. Councillor Grafton, all in favour? Aye. Any against? Carried unanimously, thank you. So now we will move on to the health and safety report, another quarterly report we received. Thank you to the team in HR for putting this all together with an update on all things health and safety and wellbeing in the workplace. Are there any questions on this particular report? It's quite a detailed report which gives us a good update. No questions, so I'm going to take it as read then. The recommendation is that the Finance, Risk and Audit Committee received the Health and Safety Report as at 31st of July 2023 for information. Could I have someone move that way? Anyone online? A mover? Councillor Webb, seconded. Councillor Weston, all in favour? Aye. Any against? Carried unanimously, thank you. And I just want to commend the initiative here from around the wellness committee that's going to be set up through the health and safety. I think that's really good that it incorporates staff, so I think that's a great initiative. Thank you to the team. And now we'll move on to agenda item number 8. Now this is this could be a bit of a meaty one. Agenda, this one's around insurance cover, and you'll know that every year we have a look at what cover council does have around all assets that it owns, and this report has been provided quite a lot of detail in it around assets. Now I'm probably not going to consider going through line by line of each asset. I know that we've had some comments come through from councillors, and a suggestion has been made that a good idea would be a workshop to go through that, and I think probably at that workshop a philosophical discussion is probably the way to start around, you know, what type of assets you really want to or have a appetite to insure, or perhaps not insure, just depending on where you want to go. But I'm going to open this. Firstly, thank Douglas for putting this together, and he wants to say a few words before we launch into any questions.
Thank you, Chair. So there's a number of policies here. Obviously, now the focus that we'll get is on material damage to assets, so it's quite important. I just want to highlight the work on infrastructure assets, a lot of work done about months, 6 weeks ago to go through and create a whole lot of detail regarding particularly our underground pipes, and that work has been bundled up with the other council and as part of the package that gets sold overseas. We buy as a part of Collective out of London at the moment. So that's just part of de-risking that insurers, the initial insurer. If you can imagine that one insurer will never want to insure all of anyone's assets or liabilities, as in the case here, so there's always a part of reinsurance. So that's a good process that we follow here. Some of those liability policies, everyone often thinks you always need insurance. Sometimes you don't need insurance if you think you can manage the risk of not being insured in another manner. So self-insurance is one of those things that can be considered. You do need to have I would suggest a certain amount of size and financial grunt and systems to self-insure. I was just talking to a couple of councils before that I believe, I said it correctly, but I think places like the police, they generally don't insure their cars because, as you can imagine, they get a few dings of cars. They have so many cars, so what they therefore they don't, I believe, insure. They just sort of have a replacement process. I wouldn't recommend that here for this council, because if you did have a crash with, say, a large milk tanker and trailer, the cost of that would be horrendous on us. So you do have to insurance for those stuff. You do not want to have a problem for you. But the one that we will focus on, and I think a number of people made really good comments about, we think there's some areas of here. Well, actually, that's the reason we put that schedule forward, because there's a lot of community buy into these assets. And so having a session with whoever wants to say turn up for maybe the LTP session next week would be good. Just have a go through them. There's 6 of the buildings, the 6 larger ones we are getting revalued for insurance purposes. They'll be back to us in about 3 to 4 weeks' time. The reason we do that is that you want, there's 2 reasons. One is our biggest buildings, obviously, in mind that they're our most important buildings, and we need to have them correctly insured if we do have a loss. But what I will then do is take the average movement in those values and we'll apply it to every other building as well. So just so we're clear, if those 6 showed a 10% movement in what the value is, just ignoring the debate between replacement value and indemnity value, we'll just apply that 10% to the rest to lift our portfolio. And that way, you don't get into the awkward situation of having a building that might be undervalued. You'll probably never ever have the value perfectly right on the day you have a total loss, but the importance is having those mechanisms to make sure you manage that as actively as you can. And my final comment would be insurance does have a cost, and therefore this is a good chance to think about some of those buildings we don't need. It's not only the insurance cost, it's the maintenance cost going forward. That might mean you take any savings and put them into maintaining some of our buildings better or more proactively. But the workshop we have next week, we'll have Andrea and Karen from the property crew. I'm sure Mike will be available as well for that. And we'll just have a good session on what should we do here with this particular risk management. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Douglas. Councillor Howard.
This was quite all we went through, because every time there'd been an upgrade, it came as a separate item. I don't know if there's any way of grouping them before we had the discussion, just to make it easier. Particularly some of the memorials was written down 3 times. So just to understand the total value that's insured for.
Yeah, it's a good point. We can go through and prep those out. One of the risks, because I did pick up and I thought, I'm going to be a bit careful here, because early on, Karen and I had a discussion and we realised there were 2 memorials in one area, whatever it was. But then he went away and did have a physical look and said, oh no, actually one's more of a playground sort of memorial, whatever it was. So definitely some of those small items we should tidy up. But then again, you have to look and say, do we need to insure some of those items? And that's...
Well, that gets back to that philosophical discussion right at the start, doesn't it? Which if you can identify what perhaps you do and don't want to insure. Councillor Sampson.
I guess that will be covered when we have a workshop, but along the same vein is the fact that you've got pensioner flats in Karamea, both there, but separately they have the carports registered. So in a case like that, would you pay, if they got moved down, would you actually have to pay in excess on both the carports and the flats, because they're joined together, and to have them identified separately?
With insurances, but correct me if I'm wrong, if it's one incident that's there, then one.
You've got to insure it separately.
Yeah, but I think that's definitely something that you could ask the question of.
It's a good question to ask, but I wouldn't be concerned if you had that problem. But that aside, it raises the question number you've got, which is just get clarity over your asset descriptions.
Just it says here that looks indicative increases are about 20%. But 20% from 885 is not 946. It seems to be nudging over $1 million.
7, 8, 9 from the premiums this year plus.
So you're doing it from the year before for the,
Yeah,
okay. So,
the 800 is the budget we've got for 23, 24.
oh, but it's okay, yeah. But it's
I
great.
heard that percentage is higher in some places too.
Yeah, but I mean, you're nudging $1 million to insure your stuff.
Yeah.
Considerable. Mr. Mayor, did you have and then I'll come.
It was just that some of the policy treatment seems quite different to what I've got in terms of personal property, like in terms of your house, you don't have to insure your brand or your garage and all that stuff's captured. It's within so many meters or whatever, or connected with the power, whatever, as part of your house, it's part of your house. But in this, we seem to have like a coal town. I saw we've got the coal town insured, and then we've got the awning insured. I would have thought they're the same thing, you know, they would have been one of the same, unless there's some reason it's different in this.
Commercial.
I think you'll find that they've just been additions that really should have accumulated into one site. So I think that's just something to tidy up. But also know that residential insurance is probably a little bit more user friendly on the owner of the house, whereas under a commercial arrangement, which is what we are, they expect a higher level of quite simple competence on the person they're insuring. So they are a little bit more specific, you know.
But that's something you will find out.
Think about pre-earthquake September 2010, you just insured your house. It doesn't really matter what the value was. And then after that, the insurers came back and said, actually, you are going to give us damage now because we've got to protect ourselves better. So just take it in that perspective.
I'll come to you next, Councillor Weston.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I've seen got a couple of dates highlighted. What's the reasoning behind that?
Yeah, so cover when it rolled in November 22 was rolled for a month to get initial initial cover in place, because there were a few some of the detail, because it's quite a big policy, not this fast as well. So that was just get that cover and then we'll do 11 months. That's all it was.
Councillor Howard.
Can you explain, Chrissy, some of the terms and the conditions have changed in the proposed new policy? They've got ones like 50 years old that you can insure for indemnity only, and 75 years old for over demolition cost only, which captures a lot of what's on the asset list. Does that mean that's only optional? Does it mean you can still go back and ask for cover? I'm just looking at a lot of the buildings are aged 1950, which brings it to 75 years.
So the answer would be we can ask to have that cover changed to be more replacement. What the market did about 3 or 4 years ago, there was quite a lot of emphasis on when the building standards in New Zealand changed that 1964, and that became sort of a magical date where insurers suddenly said those buildings have got lower structural integrity because of their age, and we're not really so interested in covering them. So that's why more of those values fell in that indemnity policy. Also, too, those buildings might have been built for what we consider reasonably cheap value, but now you think of replacing this building in particular, it's probably a classic example. I'm sure its value we would be slightly worried about if we had to fully replace it. So it's that date they put when the whole consenting and certification process changes. So we can ask.
We need to probably look at that very carefully then, looking at those dates and where they fit into those bands when we do our line by line look at them.
I would be suggesting to you the most important thing in this process is to ask ourselves that first question: do we need this building going forward? And that sort of might be pretty blunt, but it sort of puts into because you can hold a lot of buildings which you don't need. So we need to be really clear, what is the purpose of this building and do we need it? The answer is yes, then you go for gold and you insure it and you maintain it.
Thank you. Councillor O'Keefe.
I think also too, public liability. Like camping grounds, the council line. I mean, I know that it's not clearly communicated to subcommittees what sort of cover they have. There's not much talk around that. So with some places you might think that it is covered for that. There's that risk around that. I suppose we probably need to think of a way that we can sort that out.
So Madam Chair, the way, so at the moment, one of my jobs, I've got to finish and get that declarations for 23 with the insurer. So one of the ones that I was actually looking at yesterday is exactly at campgrounds. Have we got campgrounds? The answer is yes, we have got campgrounds. Then what happens is the next test is, so we the council have the activity, and then you look and you go, is in the case of Mokanui, is Mokanui? Yeah, is Mokanui a committee of the Wellington District Council? And the answer is yes, it is. And if it is, it's then covered under our liability policies. So as long as you are seen as part of, we've got the activity covered, and you're seen as part of the council family, you're good.
Yes. So does Cinnamon Camping Ground have that too? Because they're a subcommittee, because they're paying that twice then, because they're actually paying for that as well. As I'm saying, there's no communication.
Then let's get that one tidied up, because there's nothing less than being double insured.
Yep.
And you understand why that's a problem? Because both insurers look at each other and go, it's probably yours. And then no one provides cover. So I better talk you afterwards about that.
Okay, right, we'll leave you to iron that one out. Councillor Reading.
2 for 8, please, Madam Chair.
Yes.
One is Douglas mentioned about motor vehicles and inclusion of the milk tank and what have you. So generally, I would expect third-party insurance to cover. So I then asked the question: well, if we're talking about some minor things and what have you, with a policy excess of X dollars, then why are we not for the vehicles looking at third party only? I just put it out there, that's all. Since Douglas also mentioned about the milk tankers, obviously third party will cover that. The other one is the spreadsheet which we've got on here, detailing all the individual items. Any chance of having that can I read only so that I can sort and do what I want to do for the next workshop? Because reading it off here, it's very difficult to read. We're talking about having a workshop for insurance. Can I have a soft copy, please?
Yeah, we're secretary to all of you.
Yeah,
and we can sort it at the meeting. We'll do whatever you like.
I just want to be able to play myself and fiddle and just to get whatever.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, coming out of this process is having a much cleaner schedule for our insurers and for ourselves. So anyone who can help. That's great.
Okay, I'm just about to wrap this up, but
just very quickly, one of the things that it talks about in vehicles, it's not, we're not insured for vehicles used as a tool of trade. And I would have thought all council vehicles were a tool of the trade. So that you'd think there'd be some sort of insurance. And the second one is it seems to me that cyber, not crime, but cyber hacking, cyber stuff is also not insured, which I know from a school point of view, that's a really big, it's quite a big thing. That's quite important. And for a council that's going online with an extensive information management sort of system, I would have thought that it would be really important to have some security in terms of your online data.
I just look at that total trade thing, because that's probably something I just need to check up on. Cyber cover. I thought we had cover under one of the other policies, but I'll just clarify that. The cyber one's quite interesting, because I'd say it's the one that probably worries you the most, but it's often, people have often said that there's a lot of exclusions in cyber cover. And I know when I came out of Selwyn, we were looking really hard at whether we should cover cyber cover, because you paid X dollars and then basically you've covered for something really minor. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't have the cover, but it was that real cost benefit thing. We were struggling at where we were spending the money, and we did do this, Haven and I, not long after I got here, we did what's called a penetration test on the website. And so one of the things that I'd like to be bringing more regularly to you is what are we doing in that space to protect the council's assets and our business at the end of the day. So I know in our Selwyn days we were humming and ahhing about spending more time on what you call penetration testing, as opposed to having the policy.
Well, I mean that's a valid argument. I'm not saying you should have it, but it is something that's really important. And if you've got better systems and more cost effective, then by all means.
Coming out of this, we've got a few notes in the meeting which we'll make and bring to our session. I see Councillor's another question, and it's really good. I've got what I've been wanting out of this session, so thank you for that.
that's good, and thanks for the previous feedback.
Can I please, Madam Chair?
Yep.
Just 2 quick ones. One, through the chair, can I have the page number, please? We talk about tools of trade.
Yep, you can.
And the second one is cyber security, which was also raised by Deputy Mayor. Had a word with Hayden. I believe the cyber security assurance is, how can I say it? It is quite special, I believe, for the workshop, but maybe we need to invite Hayden to give a brief presentation on that, because there are some iffy parts, let's put it that way. So I'll just put it out there, please, Madam Chair. And if I may just through the chair.
57.
57. Thank you very much.
Okay, last one, councillor Cowan.
I just wonder, we've got all the schedule of the assets, but it'd be helpful to know which ones we actually lease to other people, because surely it's their decisions there, maybe a little bit around the insurance. So some, we assume we're passing on insurance costs too, if they're even the building, they should be paying insurance cover.
The general assumption is yes, you have to look at each lease on a case by case basis.
But it's, so there is any of those ones, maybe they just, it could be known.
Yeah, and that spreadsheet has quite a few more columns I just suppressed just to get it in the sheet. So when you get it, you'll find it's, well, there's more information there.
So I think the general consensus is that this information plus enhanced information will come through to a workshop, and it's agreed that that workshop will be next Wednesday,
Yes.
council meeting, will it be?
I think if everyone's happy with that, we will do the meeting. The workshop starts at 2 o'clock.
Mayor, are you happy with that? No?
Well, next Wednesday.
Is it 2 o'clock start or 2:30 start?
What is it?
We've got a 2 o'clock LTP workshop.
Yeah, we've got it.
And there's a waste workshop at 12:30.
Okay.
Been tied up for me.
Would anyone object if we set the LTP workshop, don't think we've had a full 3 hours, if we just ran on the end for say half an hour, 3/4 an hour, would that be worthwhile? Let's do that.
Mr. Mayor, are you
Yep.
all right with that?
Yeah, I've got the afternoon blocked out.
Okay, so Douglas will provide all the information in advance, so
I'll see
the
you. Check that
councillors have
spreadsheet.
got an opportunity to do some pre-work around that.
It's
Okay.
not far away, though, so just Jenny gets those out pretty quick.
Okay,
Great.
well, thank you for all the feedback and the feedback previously provided. I think that's given Douglas a good steer of what needs to come forward to that workshop.
Indeed.
Correct?
Thank you. Yep, that's good.
Okay, thank you. So on the recommendation side of it, I'm going to take the recommendation one that the Risk and Audit Committee received the insurance replacement updates as at the 30th of September 2023, because I don't think the second one's really required because you have provided that feedback and we've agreed to a workshop. So you moving, Deputy Mayor, and a seconder, Councillor O'Keefe. Thank you. All in favour? Aye. Any against? Thank you. Carried unanimously, and thank you for all the work on that, Douglas. A bit involved. Okay, we're going to move along now to agenda C. Agenda item number 8. That was the one we just had, so we're going to number 9. Computers are a great tool, it's the person that's controlling it that's the problem. Okay, so this one's the monthly financial performance report, and this is for the 1 month period ended the 31st of July. So it's our first month snapshot at the financial performance. And Neil and Lynn have provided some good commentary here around this particular report. I think that now, I think all councillors have been handed hopefully some slightly bigger versions, which might make it just a little bit more helpful to see. Thank you for providing those, Gina, that's very helpful. And I mean, as you'll appreciate, 1 month is gives us a snapshot, but it's until a few months are down the path, it's a bit, you know, some things can be timing and so on. So I'm going to ask Douglas or Lynn if there's anything further to add to this report before I put it out for any questions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think you've summed it up well to say that's the first month's kicking off, showing pretty much on track to be thought. The explanations of variances of $50,000 or greater are mostly around time and differences around the spend or where we actually predicted the budget phasing. So when we speak about budget phasing, we're speaking about how we spend the budgets out across the year. Mr. Marshall may wish to speak a little bit more about the harbour, where we've got the impact of the repairs that were required a little bit push the budget out a bit quicker than expected this time of year. But looking at the year, if things go well, I do believe that the budget will not be overspent for that repairs.
Thank you. Do you have anything further, Douglas?
No, nothing further to add. There's a bit of cost to that particular one in August, and I just acknowledge the question from Councillor Joe about the issues, which I hope you've seen.
Yes, so the reply to, I'd asked about the over expenditure of the waste, solid waste, because it was so close to 50,000, and the response I got back was because we'd paid out the Enviro schools, and also we're going through the consultation process.
Right, yeah, thank you. Councillor Reedy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Petty cash, but a small process. I'm asking about page 102, flood event revenue. I've got a 17,765 debit against revenue. Why would we have a debit against revenue, please? And the next question is, if there are outstanding claims, why have we not accrued them for year end? Because the claims are related to the previous financial year, therefore they should be accrued. So it's a good question, sorry.
Good questions, thank you. We've got.
Could I please clarify, Councillor Reedy, are you referring to the $17,000 revenue for all flood event?
Flood event revenue, all flood event revenue, 17,000 debit, yeah. 17.
So I believe that's actually funds received, not accrued.
Sorry,
Funds received. If you go to probably page 99 gives the summary.
Is it the 794, 698 in brackets you're referring to, Councillor Reedy?
Oh, okay.
That's it does look odd. That's a full year prediction number for flood recovery, and I'm imagining, Mrs. Brooks, it's just meant to reflect the amount of funding that's not recovered from a party likely to pay subsidy money. That's possibly quantified, but it's in the income line, which causes the confusion.
Yeah.
Yes, that is, I believe that's correct.
That's a good. It's a good question. I'm pretty sure that's what it covers. That's clarified and get it reported more easily, I suppose, in the future.
So the second part of that question, the question around claims.
Well, if the answer is yes, all our claims to 30 June or whoever it is have been made in the June year. So these are just costs that we will be claiming over 23-24 years. So I think it's that 794, which is probably it's a cost, so it shouldn't be appearing as a debit income, because it's the funding will be left to fund that Wakatahi work that we're recognising as an expense. But let's just clarify that.
Yeah,
I must.
you were right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And let's make it. I'm sorry, Jenny, can we make it an action point so we don't miss it? Because it is like we've missed going through, so we just need to be clear what it is. I think it just should be down the line. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Sampson.
Page 101, it's probably an obvious thing, having picked it up and is the community facilities by income and expenditure by the balances. Just wondered why we've got a balance for both income and expenditure for community facilities.
The nil balances, is that what you're talking about?
All the way through.
Imagine that I know that month's budgeted nor spent. But in other months it is, that's probably why there's just a line that appears there, is that that would be?
It would be a very good explanation for us to be certain. What we'll do is we'll get the action point to come back to you.
Okay,
I
thank
can't
you.
access that quickly and it's.
Yeah, this one sticks out.
Yeah. I think the same probably could be said along the same lines as governance and representation, that isn't good anything either. Probably just a timing thing. Yeah,
I could understand the governance and representation, but I couldn't understand the
okay.
facility one.
Yep, good
So why does
spot.
it have zeros in that 4-year projection in that?
Yeah, it's probably just a line that doesn't need to be there, but we've added that, Jean has added that to the action point, just as a tidy up. Thank you. Any other questions on this report? Knocking to the screen, anything there? No, okay. So we'll go back to the resolution then. We have that the Risk and Audit Committee received the Finance Performance Report to the 31st of July for information. I have a mover for that, please. Councillor Fowler, seconded Councillor Sampson, all in favour? Aye. Any opposed?
Abstain, please, stand recorded.
Thank you. Carried. So we're going to go on now to investments and borrowings report. And this is a very detailed report which provides us with where we stand in with our term investments and borrowings and net debt. And thank you again to those that have prepared this report. And anything to add? Before we have a discussion.
3.6, the words net debt is not more than 25 million. A number of us read that this month.
Yep.
Make sure we have that right. And we will keep reading it quite seriously because we've fallen over that. But Neil worked hard to make sure we had that one right this month. But nothing more for us to add. Everything questions.
It's probably the one that everyone went to straight away.
That's right.
So well done. Any questions on this report? Councillor Howard.
Just a 3.3, I think we just acknowledge that you've gone back to reset and renegotiated the bank fees and increased the interest rates, so well done.
Thank you for that.
On the table number 3, summary of investments, should they all be identical?
Page number, please.
Page number 107.
Yes, because that one is
Just
because
one
there were no
changes in
no changes in those particular categories during those months.
Is there one that we talked about last year, which is this year?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Those two columns are actually the same date, which is a bit confusing there, but no, we did check. Someone else asked that question.
Any other questions?
Unusual.
Yeah. Any other questions on this particular report? No, thank you. So the recommendation is that the Risk and Audit Committee receive the investments and borrowings report is at the 31st of July for information. Could I have a mover? Councillor Grafton, seconded Councillor Howard, all in favour? Aye. Any against? Carried unanimously, thank you. Now we're moving on to agenda item number 11, and you'll have these additional reports, not additional reports, so just some big copies for us that need them. So thank you again for that. Now, just in this report, there is one area on page, just getting to it, page 115 around sundry debtors, which Douglas is going to give us a verbal on because it's to be updated, and
so
that's fine because you were busy with your annual report.
We sort of got, unfortunately, got our rate stuff finished really early, but trading, we just had a staff change and we hadn't actually explained to the young staff member what they had to do, so that was our fault and my fault. We've solved that, so I will provide a commentary on 3.3. We only just completed that yesterday afternoon. Just want to flag And on attachment 1, there's an item called sundry halfway down the page, which is a balance of $405,840 owing. That debt was paid on the 9th of August. So, and that's quite a large amount, that's 728 compared to the previous 3 months of 454. But we're back to where we should be on that particular one. And just while I've got the speaking stick as such, we're certainly seeing an increasing number, as we said last month, but even this month, increasing number of people's direct debits failing. So that's obviously just something we're just continuing to work with those individuals. Does obviously quite a bit of work when someone has a failure, and we understand that has taken some time, it does create a bit of rework to work out with the individual how we get them back onto the payment plan with the direct debit. So it is just a sign of stress, as you can appreciate. So we continue to work on that one.
So you're reaching out to those people, I'm assuming?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that is something that will need to be watched, and probably not unexpected in a way. Probably was a bit more of a delay than we imagined that coming through, but any questions on this report, Councillor Reedy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Both sundry and rates, basically it's accounts receivable. I appreciate receiving this document here. I've not having seen the final account sheet for 23, certainly in 2022, we had about $1.9 million overdue, but we only wrote off, if you like, we provided for 10,000. Yeah, we've got close to on here at 1.6 million, and I know there's new accounting standards regarding the providing for write-off. I'm saying writing off. It's one thing to report these because they're in the AR ledger, but there's another thing in terms of GL, and I don't believe, unless there's a good explanation for it, why we haven't written off or provided for writing off, i.e. Debit expense, credit, provision for doubtful debts, fairly basic, and I'm surprised you look at that. So I'd just like an explanation as to why we are carrying this debt in the balance sheet. We really stay in the AR ledger, but I believe if you've got 1.6 and someone's over a year old, why it hasn't been provided for in the balance sheet, in the P&L.
So do you want to comment on that?
Yes, Madam Chair, both these reports are out of the two applicable accounts receivable ledgers. Yeah, your question is fair, obviously, and reasonable. We have prepared our doubtful debt provision. We have yet to have that discussion with the auditors, and it's something we'll be reporting to you when we provide the annual report. I'm happy to go into that in a little bit more detail as part of that annual report time process. One of the things, appreciate is like rates debts are effectively, because they're a charge on properties, the only time a rates debt does not become collectible is if it gets to a period of 6 years, and then there's a statutory write-off process. So dealing with rates debts, you wouldn't have a huge provision. When you get to your sundry debts, some of these sundry debts have provisions under leases and so forth, which give you some protections. Others, there may be assets like at the port. We've got a couple of debts down there. We'll be looking shortly to see how we can put a claim against a particular vessel. So it is an issue we still need to work through with the auditors and make sure they're happy to understand we have been reasonable. So it's just not a completed piece of work here, but just remind you these are off the two debtor ledgers, not off the GM. So they're gross reports.
Mm-hmm.
Understand what Brad was saying, and I also understand about the rates review. There's also provision in the legislation regarding, well, I'm saying we're writing them off, what I'm saying is we're providing for them in the P&L because there could be doubts about them. Now, if something's a year old, I'm not talking about $100 here and there, I'm talking about the gross amount. So I hear what you're saying about discussing with the auditors. But 10,000 write-off from last year, we had 1.9 million. It seems And at the moment, I think we've got a provision for, as at 22, and we had a provision of about 96,000 for doubtful debts. Now that is fairly small, given the volume or the value of the debt outstanding. So, but I'm happy to wait, Madam Chair, for the audit.
Yeah, I think it is a good conversation to have with the auditors. I think it is, a council is somewhat different, they say, than your average business, where you wouldn't be looking for a write-off necessarily for tax purposes and so on, but
I actually, Mrs. Brooks and I have spent a wee bit of time on this particular issue in the last few weeks, because as the economy starts to struggle a wee bit, you know, you're right, we need to look and make sure we are providing what we think right for the right particular trading. So it is an area that probably that we might provide a little bit more detailed reporting, particularly in public excluded though, just to get a better understanding of it, because there is that risk that we have more issues. So yeah, I just want to get a shout. We are a bit more, we are alert. It's a bit more challenging at this stage, and we probably need to be a little bit more cautious about our ability to recover.
I'm just thinking, is that something, a report that we'd like to see on the action point list, or will be subject to the annual report and have that discussion with the auditors?
Look, I'd make it an action point personally, because the auditors are welcome to have a view on it, but actually it's something we should be managing ourselves anyway. So I think I'd make an action point.
And then it won't get lost in the ether.
That's right.
And we'll see what that looks like. It's a good point. Yeah, let's have a look at it that way. Yep.
Action point, sorry.
That are
a review of the doubtful debt provision be reported back to
accounts.
Yeah.
Councillor Sampson.
Has there been a lot of people saying they're not paying their rates because they have their valuations in question and they haven't heard back from the valuation, so they're not paying their rates until then?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I've just got an email in my inbox to attend to today for that same question. There has been that question, which is that some of their ratepayers have asked for a review of their QV valuation, and they have not yet received that. So they say that they believe they're paying rates, and we need to actually wait for the formal valuation process to roll right through and be finalised before any change to those rates can be made. So they actually are generally available. So yeah, we have a handful of people asking that question. So unfortunately for us, the lateness of the valuation, the 395 council, that was just the work program that rolled out from QB, and unfortunately has caused a bit of extra administration and queries and concerning the community. It's been extra work for us.
So does that reflect in here at all or not? Not really, it's too early.
No,
Too early, because Q1 instalment's due on the 28th of August, so we expect in the next quarterly update here to see a bit more and to get a sense of what Mr. Marshall said earlier, which is how many people are really having trouble keeping up now, and just the noise. The information, from our team is that we are seeing a lot more in that area of directives having trouble.
Thanks for that explanation, Lynn. Councillor Naylon.
Yes, thanks, Madam Chair. I think it'd be prudent if the council was to put some comms out about this thing, because there's two ways people can go. They can either pay the new rate, even though they've appealed the valuation with obviously they'll get a credit if a credit's due if the appeal is successful, or they can pay the old rate. And then the only part that would be in dispute would be the difference between the new rate and the old rate based on the valuation, and that would come after the appeal was decided. Because I think leaving people in limbo where they have a protest, if you like, because they're waiting for the valuation appeal, actually it's going to cost them money in terms of penalties when it needn't. If we actually put out a few comms before. I know the date's passed, it was 28th of August, but I think we need to let people know that even though you're under appeal, you should be paying at least what your old rate was for that quarter.
So I guess that's a good point, Councillor Naylon. When are people contacting to say they're not paying because their rates are under, their evaluation's under review, and at that stage are they getting that sort of advice that Councillor Naylon's just suggested?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The number of ratepayers that have asked us that question has been very small. I would say a handful is my estimate. There's not a large number. And secondly, we're a bit cautious about the advice about saying underpay, because the situation may be for them that actually there's a higher amount and therefore they start on the wrong footing. And probably thirdly, there is a well understood piece of legislation, sorry, not piece of legislation, it's a piece of case law that comes out of legislation that says if you have some form of dispute or disagreement that doesn't allow you to not pay your rates, you've got to pay what's struck. So we're happy to work with those ratepayers if they're out having trouble paying the rates. We'd rather actually have them contact us about that issue and getting an instalment arrangement going with them and get that going, rather than say don't pay. Because we don't really know what the rates would be, because and it's subject to quite a long time frame before we do know, and it could be half a year. And I would like to see someone in a bad situation that hadn't paid quite enough.
Would you pick up on all of that, Councillor Naylon? I'm not sure if you can hear from there. So what Lynn's saying is the advice should be like contact us in any instance where you can't.
Well, I guess I'm not too concerned about the story that's told. I think that we needed to be telling a story before that 28th of August date came up, and so we need to get some comms out, if you like, to say we understand people have got appeals in, but you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't pay. And obviously from what I've just heard from Lynn is that you should be paying the new rate. And then, if things change under appeal and you've overpaid, you'll get a credit for the next instalment.
That's what we're hearing. So can we get some?
Madam Chair, the Westport News ran an article about 6 weeks ago, I think, based on a Karamea resident who rang in, so that was quite useful. We worked in with them, so we can easily repeat that information. But as Mr. Fox said, the law is very clear on this, but it's also very clear that if the valuation changes, then the council has to put the rate back where they should be under the new valuation. So there is no ambiguity over this issue.
So if comms have that's already been answered, could that communication come out again, and even like through the various channels, not just as an article from the Westport News?
We can, that's a good point. We can pick up the list of the debtors too. I think we've got one. I know we've got that, so we can actually write to them directly. Just one point just to be aware of is that the process is underway now with QB values, but people still want to object, they can go through the evaluation tribunal. So this process could go on for quite a while. So that is why we encourage people to pay their rates so they don't get themselves in a slightly difficult situation with us if they ultimately don't get what they expect.
Okay. Well, I think we'll form that as an action point and get some communication out to ratepayers around options. It's good. So any other questions on this particular paper? Okay, so I'll put the recommendation that Risk and Audit Committee receive the debt recovery report as at the 31st of July 2023 for information. Could I have a move of that? Councillor Weston, seconded. Councillor O'Keefe, all in favour? Aye. Any against? Carried unanimously, thank you. And now we'll move on to the projects and partnership report. You're all very familiar with these reports, so an update on all the various capital projects that we have on the go at the moment. And here we have these minutes. We have the minutes. So these minutes, can you? Yep, so I just want CEO Steve will give us an update just around the minutes before we enter into this part of the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, through you, Chair. Just in regards to the minutes, at the last PIP committee meeting earlier this week, these minutes weren't approved. There are a couple of areas that we need to adjust in these. So what we're asking is you don't consider the minutes today and not receive them. We will bring back the corrected and approved minutes from the PIP committee for the next RAC, if you're comfortable on that. I'm happy to just give a quick overview of the program, and then if you've got any questions, my team can answer you specific. But yes, overall, I think the summary is, when you look at the project summaries, there is actually really good progress across the broad range of program work that we're doing. And there are a couple of yellow areas that the team are keeping a watch on, especially around the wharf, and that includes a little bit more work around the level of resilience that we're building at to and peer review on the design. But again, I've probably exhausted my intelligence now, so I'm going to pass it on to any of the team if you've got any questions.
Okay, thank you, Steve. So just to reiterate, we won't be discussing the minutes if there was anything in there that you had a question on, so we'll go straight to the reports. And I'm going to deal with each report as it comes along. I think is the easiest way to do that again. So the first one is the flood recovery package 1 to 5. So this is page 127. Are there any comments around this one? Yep.
Sorry, Madam Chair, can I just go back, but just regarding, I know we're not discussing the minutes, but what is a WAS stop? WAS or WA stops?
I think Mike's got the answer to that.
Can I just
They're called a last stop.
Oh, wow, yeah, okay.
They're called a last stop, and they're a design that's like a hinaki.
Yeah.
Understand that? And they get the water out as the water comes through, as the water recedes and drops back down. And any pressure from the other side does exactly the same. It closes them up instead of flood flat gates that we used to use. These are a more modern style of stopping water.
Yeah, thank you, Mike, and thank you, Madam Chair, through the chair. It's just, I would have thought, wow, let's stop, but I'm happy now.
You're right, that's good. We'll all learn something a little bit more today.
What's the terminology?
I want to know what that is.
So hinaki is a net that Maori have used for catching eels.
Right.
Normally, tuna, fish of different descriptions. They start wide.
I can picture it now. You've explained it.
Traps them in and they come to an end if they don't.
Thank you for that.
So you haven't got one of them on all the
They don't catch white ones.
A pretty small thing opening.
I think that might have been a way to, get past the Sydney issue. Thanks,
So you've all
Mike.
learned a little bit of Maori.
We have. Thank you. That's a little bit of culture for us. Very much appreciated. Thank you. Okay, so back to the page 127, which is the flood recovery work package 1 to 5. So this is quite a substantial program of work. So any questions on this particular project? No, thank you. Thanks for the detailed report. So the next one is coming. Yep, page 131 is the 3 water, stormwater and drainage project. This one looks to us all green, so we'll go on this one. No questions? No, thank you. Oh dear. Sorry, my computer's just going very slow now. Okay, now we're up to this is the one that you were particularly talking about, Steve, which is the Westport Wharf Repair and Reinstatement Package. So this is the one that's just under $6 million package, managed by Phil Rossiter. Councillor Fell.
I've got a really niggly question, but it has the risk assessment matrix and it has different colour codes depending on the amount of risk.
Yes.
So there's green, yellow, orange and red. In some of the reports they've got blue for like level 6, which is yellow, is like reported as blue. Is there a reason for that?
So we're on page 139 here, are we?
And the previous one too, 135.
Yep.
Just wondering why.
I can't tell you, but I will come back to you. Team being that, the team will possibly get it soon. I'm not sure why they've come up that far. There is a standardised colour.
Yeah, so 6 should be a yellow.
Should be yellow.
Yeah.
Okay, if you could follow that up, that's right, that'd be great, thank you. Any other questions in this particular report? All right. This one's the Reefton Historic Landfill. Again, all go on this one. Right, looks like we're all ticking along very nicely. Now we've got the project, the Better Off funding. This will get you going. 3.5 million. On this one, this incorporates 9 projects, and I believe there is a reallocation of funds. Have you had that discussion yet, or is that something coming up next month?
So councillors workshop this afternoon to work through options to reallocate 650k, and that would be the subject allocated from council.
Next week, is it?
Yep.
Okay, right.
Next month, October.
Oh, okay. Right. Right, okay, so that's good to know, so just.
So that the other
watch this
projects,
space.
there's a bit of detail on what's happening with them all. They're all progressing one way or another.
Yes. No, they all seem to be ticking along. Any questions? This is quite a body of councillor Reddy, have you got a question?
Madam Chair, it's more an observation.
Yes.
And it sort of ticks on from the previous minutes. A lot of the consultancy or project management in some of these reports is over budget basically. The comment was made, well, yeah, it's about 11%, so therefore it's within range. So that's okay. I know with the project will set a budget, it's probably about 10% for project management. The mere fact that it comes in maybe 11% or 12% longer, and it's within, I would say the word killing, it's within killing what we said here, that's all right. But to me, we should be managing these costs. It's not just a matter of saying, oh yeah, well, it's within that range, therefore it's okay. For me, if there's a bit of movement in that, and I know there's been some adjustments, don't get me wrong, but if there's been some correct budgeting and perhaps an allocation, but if there is any movement, I believe it should be looked at. This isn't just a matter of just shrugging our shoulders and saying, yes, okay. We should be looking at these and why. Why now is the if you like, project management or anything else moving above what we originally budgeted for? Mm-hmm. That's all. I'm sort of concerned that with a comment that was made in one of those papers that it's within acceptable ranges, 11%. I don't believe that that we as an opposition should be accepting that as a valid reason. Mm-hmm. There's going to be other reasons, but it's just an observation at the moment, please.
Yeah, there are some projects which do give an explanation around, you know, timing and so on that I guess extend those costs. But Mike's got his hand up ready to answer that.
I can assure you that all of our costs are looked at quite regularly. We have a monthly meeting to understand why our costs are increasing. A lot of our costs are increasing because of either material costs, cost of living and other things, but a lot of them also extended lately around making sure that the design for what we're doing is correct, because we've had to come back a couple of times and relook at those designs based on once you start opening things up and you get into there, it's actually different to what we need to. One of the last stops we got, we had it measured with the fit. When we opened the pipe up, the pipe had actually gone and it become unground, become elliptical, which meant those new wire stops we put in there, we get to pull the pipe out for a whole new thing. So there are specific reasons. We don't just accept that 11% is 11% and we'll carry on. We always look at why. And you'll see that all through those projects we do make cost savings where we can. And that's why we could, you know, we ground and come back to wins when we can come back to
Through the chair, thank you, Mike. And as I said before, it's just an observation at the moment. So, thank you for that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks, Mike, for your explanation.
Yeah,
that's great. Thank you. Right, I think that might be the end of those monthly. So I've got, go back to the recommendation, which is coming.
That might be changing slightly. Madam Chair, with the fact we're going to exclude the minutes.
Yes, I think we'll put that the Risk and Audit Committee received projects and partnership update report for information with the exclusion of the minutes yet to be confirmed. So someone, Councillor Reedy, thank you. Deputy Mayor Basher, seconder, all in favour? Aye, any against? Carried unanimously, thank you.
Minutes of the 14th of August, of course.
Yes, please, yep, true. Point. Okay, thank you. Now we're, yep. Thanks too much, Farah. That's all good. Yep. Okay, now we're agenda item number 13, which is about moving into public excluded, and we have 6 items here relating to public excluded matters, and with all the detail around why we're public excluded. Are there, before I put the resolution to go into public excluded, any comments around this? No, okay, so
1 and 2.
1 and 2, thank you. 1 to 6. PE 1 to 6. Mr. Mayor has moved that way. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Howard, all in favour? Aye. Any opposed?
Quarter, please.
Thank you, Councillor Reedy.
Councillor Webb for.
Oh, Councillor Webb. Were you for or against? For? Yeah, thank you. Just hadn't quite picked up on that. So that motion is carried. So I'd like to thank anyone out there that's tuned into our public risk and audit meeting today. Appreciate your attendance, and we'll close that part of the meeting. Thank you.